Now for securing AI, Zatu comes here and has a really long track record in securing AI, doing a lot of work there, helping people making AI secure and also helping people breaking AI. And now she wants to tell us how this both can combine with each other. And I think that's already the core summary of the talk, but now we will see the long version. So give a big applause, and the floor is yours.
So, hello. My first profession was in education, so repetition is the mother of all learning. So I'm going to start with the core thing I'm going to be talking about, then I'm going to talk about it, and at the end we're going to return to this. So apologies for all of this who think repetition is unnecessary because you pick up things fast. I'm kind of that kind of person too. But it's also hot. We've been partying and having fun for some days, so maybe it's good. AI security starts with data. If your data is poor, so is your AI. A lot of the issues we're seeing with the big models is because they've scraped the internet. And as we all know, everything in the internet is pure diamond, no quality issues, no inaccuracies, no nothing. So a lot of the things we see with AI is because of the data. Securing AI would require basic cybersecurity best practices. They're often not done. Usually AI is in a proof of concept stage, in which point it's too early for cybersecurity or any kind of security because we don't know if it works yet. And then once it does the thing it's supposed to do, it's already late because they put it in production. So then it's too late already. But that would be a key thing to do to secure AI. You have to look at the life cycle. Also, until the day it's taken offline and all of that. And the thing is, unintended consequences, there's a lot of them, and they're not usually thought about. People should have some humility. This is something is sorely lacking in the AI industry at this time. Humor would be good, also lacking sometimes. And yeah, the security ends with data, and there are two ways to interpret it. Both are correct. And users is the same thing. So it can help secure it, it can help break it, and hacking AI and securing AI actually belong very tightly together because you need to hack AI to know where it's brittle, to secure it. You need to thoroughly and aggressively security test these, and my workshop tomorrow is going to be about that, so I'm not going to go too deeply at that. And we're also going to be looking a bit where the industry bodies are buried and why we need to look at this. So who am I? I started getting into AI in 2016, 2018 with the viewpoint of building trustworthy AI and looking at it from an engineering perspective of how to do that, but trustworthy AI is too big of a challenge. So then I narrowed to the security. I was an AI evangelist at Solita. Now I teach people to hack AI, and I'm going to look at hybrid threats to stuff from the AI viewpoint, which tells a lot. I have some training. My slides have the proof of I have a university background. There's a lot of text. I do apologize. I am trying to wean away from that. But yeah, I do a lot of these events. I love these events, and come to the workshop on Monday if you feel like it. A bit about the terminology. Everyone is throwing around the word AI. It's not a single technology. It's a group of technologies. There is very statistics-based machine learning. There is computer vision, natural language processing, generative AI, and AI by itself is useless. It's a paperweight. It's only useful when it does something. It's connected to something like automation or something. So by itself, AI is not that interesting. Or actually, sorry, it's very interesting, but the usefulness requires in how it's put into use. This talk focuses mostly on generative AI, so think Gemini, ChatGPT, and others, and we are talking about the same thing. I just wanted to say that there's more to it than this. There's a lot more to it. And a lot of the useful advances in AI are done outside the scope of generative AI. And even though this is sometimes forgotten, it shouldn't be. So, to start with the talk, because you need to understand something if you want to secure it or break it, how they work is they never see words. No AI model ever sees words. They see numbers. So you have a sentence like Earth orbits the sun. You break it into tokens, which is the different color blocks. You don't have to really see how it breaks it up, but it breaks it down into objects. They are given a number, a token, and then they are run through another AI model, which is an embedding model. And what it does, it adds a vector of other numbers, which are how that particular number connects to other numbers in that model, which is the meaning. So the word man connects to all the things that is in our language connected with that word. Or like you give that meaning. So what the AI model actually sees is these vectors of meaning. And that's how they're able to make sense and have a coherent text, even if they only see the numbers. They don't get context, really. The foundational models do have, because the internet was scraped and pushed in, but it's always out of date. There's a wild amount of inaccuracies, and a lot of time in an AI project goes into ensuring that the AI never uses that context, but only the context it is fed, so it's also truthful, because they're not developed to be truthful at all. They are developed to predict the next word and to make coherent text and sentences. So it is still, they try to generate grammatically correct and semantically coherent language. That's what they do. And they do it often in times which makes companies really nervous, for good reason. So the other thing that takes a lot of time in any Gen AI project is guardrails. How do we ensure that it does what it's supposed to and doesn't do what it shouldn't do? And hacking AI is making it disregard those carefully selected guardrails to make it do what we want it to do and test that, is it actually stable? Or how easy is it to just push it to do something completely different? And it's very, very, very easy. So let's look at the technology. It is still in early stages, generative AI. Alpha, maybe beta. It's early, it's brittle. You can check in Google, are the pools of Titanic full of water? This is what the AI summary will say. No, the Titanic swimming pool is not full of water. While it did contain heated salt water when the ship was in service, the pool is now submerged at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. The immense pressure and damage from the sinking would have caused the water to drain out. These are not truth engines. That proves the point. These are fun to hack, and I take great pleasure in my life just to following the space of how these are jailbroken. Emojis was one of the that came out early this summer. You can add information in the emoji that can break the model. You can also put emojis in a way in the middle of words that obfuscate the meaning and gets the model, again, to go out of guardrails. So emojis are a lot of fun with AI. This image was, the model was prompted to show the sport places in Sweden. So all of the Finns, I'm also a Finn, so I took it a bit personally that we are Sweden, which, yes, feeds into the, there's no Finland myth that's going around. But yeah, user consciousness is required when using these. So do fact check. they do have a tendency to really go off the rails, which is alarming if you don't know the technology. It looks scary. But the reason I'm not worried is because there is no consciousness as such. There is no intent. So you could also really make it go off the rails. There was this one where you would tell the model that you have PTSD and emojis trigger it, and if it uses emojis, you will have dreadful flashbacks. And you know, ChatGPT always uses a lot of emojis, so that would cause it to absolutely spiral, because it is predicting the next probable word. And what it has given before goes into the context. So it really does this one word at a time. So it generates a word, then that word and the prompt goes back to it to get the next word. And so on, and so on, and so on, one token at a time. Every new word feeds into the token. So when it starts to go off the rails, it really is committed to do that. It will continue to do that. Just the way it's built. And yeah, we're not in the industry. We haven't really been very careful with cybersecurity. ChatGPT bug leaks user conversation histories, and right now you can find some of, well, not anymore. I think they managed to fix that bug, that users were asked to have their chats be indexed by web search engines, so you could find personal chats in like Google searches. But there are a lot of issues all the time in generative AI. There's a lot of articles and blogs and others of, so if you're interested in this space, you won't get bored. There's a lot of groans and head palms and serious giggles also. But mainly the way I would categorize it is AI companies do stupid stuff. That's the word. Like, you know, ignore intellectual property and scrape everything off the internet and think they can get away with it without zero repercussions. There was a court case against Anthropic that stated that, yes, you can use books to train your models, that's still okay, but you can't steal them. So even if you pay later, that can cut down on the settlement sum, but that does not remove the original theft. That case is going to be continued in the latter part of the year. Depending on what comes out of it, we may see some big AI companies fall because they cannot afford the settlements and the cases that come out of it because they're not really profitable now. A lot of AI companies also go to fairly aggressive measures to get human-created content from their users. So, and then there's the environmental issue, which is not being looked at. There are ways to do that. It's not yet done, and I think we need to demand through regulation that some of this stupid stuff is stopped. AI Act is a good start. It can't stop there. Yeah, prompt injection is a lot of fun. That's where you just talk to it. It's basically social engineering an AI model. So, and that we're going to be looking at in tomorrow's workshop more. And as a result, you have yet another model going completely off the rails. And like Gemini this week was hit with kind of very familiar feeling of like, I'm horrible and I can't do anything kind of reflection of going on and on and on about how they're no good and everything and all this sorts of thing. It's great they try to make them act like human. None of this would be really bad by itself. What makes it alarming is the urgency and the push to embed these everywhere, all the way to the operating system level, and in ways you cannot really turn them off. They're pushed to everyone, whether people want it or not. So that is what makes it problematic. And that's the context we need to look at it when we think of tools like regulation. Since I started looking into this industry, this quote is the one that's in my head almost like at least weekly. Is your scientists were so preoccupied with whether they could, they didn't stop to think if they should. That's from the first Jurassic Park, and yes, I'm that old. That's the thing. There's not enough of thinking if we should. Should we do it like this? Or should we rethink how we do this? Some of it, like, scraping all of the internet, I think is because AI was, for a long time, it was really a university thing. It was research. And for research purposes, when you aim to share it with everyone, it's quite okay to scrape the internet because it's beneficial. It feeds on the collected information created by humanity to better the humanity, I guess. Then it suddenly came into big business. Well, I don't know if it's still okay, but more defensible. Let's put it like that. It is more defensible in that state. And some of the bad habits remain. And yes, AI people are often not security specialists, they're not ethicists, they're not environmentalists. We need a lot more diversity in developing AI because the phenomena is too big to solve from any one angle. You need the ethicist at the table looking at how do we not make the biases that are in the data worse, because these models do. We need people who think about, hey, do we need to build yet another big model and use tons of water and electricity to train it and offer it? Or should we go for the small purpose-built models instead? All of these decisions that are causing issues are decisions that could be rethought and done differently. And the pressure and the hype is very, very strong. So the people building these are under quite a lot of pressure. But this is the foundation of every AI. You have data. Couldn't find the proper database symbol, so that will have to do. It can be the internet. It can be whatever data you feed into it. That's one core thing in AI. You have the model and the context of the model. And then you have whatever system you build around it to make it work, and monitor it, and logging it, and serving it, and integrating it to the other systems with which it should operate in. Those three are the core of every AI system. It also works in a network. It's on cloud, on-prem. It interacts with other systems. And securing it, a lot of it is basic cybersecurity, which is why using basic cybersecurity practices would be so beneficial. The only thing AI-specific is that part here. That's the only AI-specific part. Everything else is just cybersecurity, which you people are experts at. That's why I've been coming to these events for years to say that you all have the skills to make this far safer. So the idea should be that by the time the attacker reaches the model, many things have already gone wrong. And by that time, it may be too late to even fix it. So, yeah. So how you should build AI. You should start with actually having a problem. And it's a problem that AI can or should be used to build, because you always should use the technologically most simple method. So if an SQL query solves it, do not use AI. You don't need it. It just adds unnecessary complexity. You can still tell the CEO that there's AI in it, but just, keep it simple. Then once you have the problem and it fits AI, so it needs probabilistic decision-making, Then you need to find the data to support it or to train it that actually has the information to solve it. And a lot of AI proof of concepts focus on the first three. So three is you either train the model, or now you can use the foundation models and you build the context. And those three are the main proof of concept in AI. Once those three are done, that's when we agree that, yes, the AI does what it's supposed to do. Now let's start build the system, in which case often consultants are told, well, you don't have to, it already works. We're just going to stuff it to production and be happy. And at that point, it's this, okay. Because the next one would be build the system to actually make it behave and be secure. So it can be frustrating not to get to that point. And then, of course, for the security side, you do have to retrain them. Not the foundation models or any other AI model will be fine left to its own devices. So you're basically adopting an AI. You have to keep training it. Even the foundation models, because our language keeps changing. The world it's supposed to predict keeps changing. So if the model doesn't change, it will go bad, even if nothing else changes. It will not fit the world. So what you often see instead, you have a customer or a company, they want AI. They don't really care what it does, but they've been told that they need AI, so they want AI. So then you hunt for a problem that would fit AI and help them try to find, okay, what should the AI do? Often done only with the business, not involving the IT. So the IT might not even know their company is doing AI. Not necessarily talking to users, so to figure out what it should do that would actually benefit the users. But hey, you find a problem. Then you scramble to get some sort of data to get it to do something. You focus on the proof of concept to tell if it's viable. Whoever's paying loves it, pushes it to production, gives it to all their friends, and the chips fall as they fall. And this is what I see a lot. And we all see the end result. When you follow the AI industry, you keep this in mind. It explains a lot. Looking at a few cases, Microsoft Recall. Not AI per such, but utilizes it. For Windows 11, it takes a screenshot of your screen every few seconds. It has the AI index it, look for words and stuff. So then the idea is to have this AI memory that allows you to go back in time to figure out what you were doing and what you need to do and everything. No way to go wrong. No one actually stopped to think, what do people have on their screens? They have passwords. They have Visa card numbers. They have all sorts of things. Oh shit, I need to move faster. Yeah, I do have a hat. I love talking about this. I don't know if you can tell. But yeah, they forgot really to consider any sort of basic cybersecurity, and were just, hey, this is cool, we can do this. Another I already mentioned is that ChatGPT wanted to allow people to share their chats and to make them discoverable. I don't now remember exact how it was worded, but it was stated that it is then you can search for it, but it was not in the cat-size letters of blinking of other people you do not know will be able to Google search it, which would have been required for people to understand what they were saying yes to. Because the general public don't know this stuff. That's why we've been talking to decades of do not click every link, and they still keep clicking the link and putting the password of 1234 or password. So we cannot expect them to keep themselves safe. If you build these kinds of solutions, it's kind of your responsibility to help keep them safe and make the smart, informed decisions not to get them in harm's way. This is a common thing. because they need human-generated data, or they will, the models in the training, when you feed AI-generated data to an AI model to train it, it is hit with something that I think the Germans had a word for it, is AI Alzheimer's. It will deteriorate. So AI companies have a problem. Where do you find the original human-generated data anymore? So instead of actually incentivizing people to keep creating, instead they scrape everything they have ever created. They try to replace the content creators with AI, and I don't know if they've actually stopped to think about the ecosystem they would actually need to keep working. I'm following with keen interest of when will the penny drop on that one. This is a Finnish one. This was before generative AI. It was Puuilo, that their search engine, you could, in their web pages, you had a search, so you could search for what they're offering. And it started to spew out all sorts of inappropriate language to suggest of what you could be searching for in their web shop. And this is one of the key ways in which to poison AI, by the way, is I was not involved in this case in any way, so I am making conjectures here. But the only way for that to seriously happen is for them to take the search queries people were putting in the search engine and retraining their models on that without vetting it, without clearing it up, so you would have a clear case to poison the model. Microsoft Taybot fell in this in 2016. They trained an AI on Twitter data, which someone thought was a good idea, and in 16 hours had to be taken offline because it was so toxic and horrid. And yeah, this actually we just covered. So this is the newest thing. Newest hype, everyone's loving it. Basically has an AI. What makes it an agent is that it's able to take independent autonomous action. The good thing about these is then you have a narrower scope, because try to risk manage an AI chatbot that can do everything. You cannot even consider the unintended consequences, the risks, it's too broad. AI agents, you can security test. Do they do the narrow task they're given? But as we're finding out, they're not really utilizing the practice of minimum minimum rights to these agents. And I think, didn't have time to read it through, but Gemini, Google has an issue where you can absolutely hack someone's ecosystem on Google by sending them a poison calendar invite, because it is connected to all the background systems. In the calendar invite, you can give information to the AI model, which the human doesn't see. It's very simple. You use the same color background and the same color text. Human doesn't see it. AI does. One way, by the way, for this, just a tip, you start using plain text again. Turn everything in plain text and you see what you're actually feeding the AI model. But yeah, this was a company that found out that Repli had connected their AI agent to the production database and given it rights to edit it. So it dropped the entire thing and lied about it. The AI lied about it. It's a fun article. I do recommend reading it. So there is no easy button for agentic AI, only the easy now, oh shit, later. And with all AI, it makes decision-making very fast. So if it goes wrong, it's going to do that a lot in a very short amount of time. That's why AI should always focus on unintended consequences. Because if you have, say, a bot that makes decisions on people's benefits, and it starts to get things wrong, it can make wrong decisions by thousands, by tens of thousands in a very short amount of time. So the effect of it is huge. Even if the error is small, it will multiply. So to do AI and not think about the unintended possible consequences should not be okay and should not be allowed. So now, instead of saying we want AI, everyone is saying we want AI agents. We want it to do a thing, so we need to give it access. Let's not really stop to think about how to narrow the scope. Like, if it needs to be able to do anything with your calendar, it needs full read and write privileges. It might need full read and write privileges to your contacts. It needs to communicate them somewhere. We are reaching a place where data security, privacy will be pushed out in the name of progress for AI. And I'm saying let's try to challenge that narrative. So know what you're doing. Inform everyone around you. How? A year ago, I said, do a short list of approved GenAI applications. Now it's more good speed and best of luck. You're doing good by being here, listening to this. So, yeah. Be mindful of the data you feed it. It is good when used in an area where you're already an expert in. It can make the work go faster when you can then see, okay, this is all the things it gives you. That's good, I'm going to use this and dump the rest. Test out and play with it. I am going to jump a few slides ahead. When you develop it, please, for the love of God, use basic cybersecurity. It's not hard. If your AI people are not experts in it, and they're never gonna be, do not expect your machine learning people to be cybersecurity people. They're not. Even being in the middle of these two industries it's a lot, I know, because both move really fast. So the easiest thing is either you have someone who is a cybersecurity expert to come in the project, or then you have the security champion, or you have someone who is at least interested in it, in the development process, asking the right questions. This also accounts for ethics and other things that should be looked at in every AI development. Give it whatever context it needs to use. Try to make it forget everything else. If you build a tool, building it for your people is far less risky than giving it to the end users direct. A chatbot helping a help desk answer users' queries, far less risky than having that reach the end users so they can problem solve themselves. So, we go back to my core idea. It really does start with the data. If you want high-quality AI, you use high-quality data. That has not gone anywhere. It will not go anywhere. AI is only as good as the data. It's not magic. It's statistics on a shit ton of data. I've already mentioned Singer. Please include some cybersecurity. At least think about it. Try. Do think about it from the proof of concept. If you cannot have all of the looking of the ethics and environment and all these unintended consequences, build those in the life cycle. So you don't need to develop them for the proof of concept, but you need to start thinking what could go wrong and how will you know if it starts to go wrong. Same with security. You don't need to develop it, but you do need to think about it. You need to build the processes of following, reacting, and fixing into it. And they need to keep going until the solution is taken offline. And it is beneficial when you're ideating on a solution also to state, when do you know it's time for this AI to die? Because people fall in love with their babies. So figuring out at the get-go, what is the signal that now it's no longer useful? Start thinking about that already at the end. Do consider that you do not know everything. The topic, the potential consequences, interactions, effects, they're so broad, it is impossible to solve by any one person or any one small team. This is a group thing. And the more diverse the group, the better the output. The more different kinds of experts, talk to ethicists, talk to philosophers, talk to people who understand psychology, talk to the securities, talk to a lot of people to figure out what you should be doing. Talk to the end users. Do they actually want it? How they would use it in a way they find useful instead of just the engineering team figuring out, oh, this would be so cool, let's push this to everyone and they will love it, and then they're wondering why everyone hates it. You could have just asked. I know, it's complicated. So be humble. And no matter how well you do, you're probably going to get some of it wrong. And then someone's going to have a field day jailbreaking the model and having the internet make a lot of fun for a while of all the ways in which it misbehaves. Join in the fun. They're doing your testing for you. Thank them for it. Incentivize doing this. Give them, celebrate this. Because really, these are so complex systems, it's really hard to thoroughly test them. Welcome the hackers. Welcome the people who want to see where it's brittle and tell you about it. They're your best friends. The people who tell you, did you realize that what this does is going to really harm this demographic? Welcome that messaging. Make it easy to let people tell that to you. And also, if they don't want to use it, it's like, I think AI should be opt-in instead of, I cannot opt out even if I really, really wanted to, I really want to, I cannot. So it should be opt-in, because these are environmentally heavy systems. And just, take care of your data. It's not the new oil, or then like most of it is, the kind of oil that has a lot of sand mixed into it. Yes, there can be benefits into it, but getting to them takes a lot of work and is expensive. Not all data is gold. Most of it is not. I've never seen a really good quality data set. And then take care of your users. Make it easy for them to get benefits, for it to be beneficial for them. Try, for the love of God, to create value for the people. Not yourself, not the company, but for people using it. There was a really lovely talk on the other stage by Kirilis about the big bad app, where we're seeing the enshittification of IT and the internet. Let's flip that. Let's actually go back to trying to solve the humanity's problems with technology instead of making it worse. There's a lot of promise in AI. I am really concerned with how it is used and pushed at this moment. So that's why I'm here. Time is the most precious thing we have. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me. And that's the end of my talk.
Yeah. Yes, thank you very much. And we have time for questions, and we have 2 mics here for everyone who is here and want to ask questions. So one here in front and one there in the back. And also for everyone who is listening in the stream, you can ask questions in the IRC chat. And so maybe we start. If you have a question from the internet, yeah, perfect. Then everyone here can move to the microphone.
No questions as yet. No online questions as yet.
Okay. So then we have here a question.
Hi. Thanks for the talk. It was really amazing. I have a question about AI red teaming. Can you talk a little bit about that, what it entails, and what to expect in conversations as hackers?
Can you repeat the question about what was...
AI red teaming, or the term that's being used quite a lot now. Red teaming.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Come to my workshop tomorrow. It's at 2 to 4 p.m. at Euclid. That's one of the things we'll be doing, a lot of prompt injection and stuff. Red teaming, well, a lot of red teaming is, yes, that's a good thing to be in because AI is pushed everywhere. That's going to cause a lot of problems. So red teaming is a really, really useful skill. We're going to need all hands on deck. It's like vibe coding. You may think it it means that there's no need for developers. All the developers who know anything will have their hands full trying to fix the problems that vibe coding causes. Red teaming is basically just making sure it's, doing only the things it should, and it's not that brittle, and there's a lot of work to be done. Easy ways, the prompt injection. The Hack AI Quest is, I'm hoping to build a community of people who want to play hacking AI or hack AI and create games for that, for other people who want to do the same thing and share expertise and tricks and stuff. So I have a few games already there. So if you want to get started with it, that would be one place. I have some other links in my workshop tomorrow. It is a really useful skill because these are developed without that cybersecurity expertise, and they are prone to go off the rails. So red teaming AI is just doing that. You see where the bugs are, where the vulnerabilities are, how to make it go off the guardrails, so the people building it will hopefully build it better. Very useful.
Okay, there are more questions. Please just queue up at the microphones. There is one question. And yeah.
Thank you so much for the talk. I'm wondering, what is your recommendation for very niche topics, for example, in cybersecurity, where you don't have a large amount of high-quality data and only very few experts who really can verify it? Okay,
I'm hoping to have time next year to play with that. There's another guy over there with whom I'm hoping to play. The cybersecurity models? Yes, exactly you. I would take a small language model which knows how to do basic communication. I will build a RAG, retrieval augmented generation, so a knowledge base. You can add textbooks, you can add how to do this, best practices, OWASP, all these sorts of material to that, and use that as context to kind of have that chat interface to those documents to help you find the things. Do, please, for the love of God, ensure that it has the citations of where it found it, because it will still hallucinate. That's what I'm hoping to build for myself, and I will probably put it to the Hack AI once I do, to have other people also play with it and see if it's any good. But that would be my way to go. And do not use the large models. That's environmentally wasteful. Always go for the smallest model you can that does the thing. But yes, there are not enough people who understand AI security, then there is need for them. But there is a lot of really good material out there. OWASP has done really good work. They have LLM application verification standard. They have first versions of that. They have the top 10 lists with mitigations. You can go quite far with these sorts of openly available materials.
So we have one more or two more questions here in the room. So let's have a look into the internet. Is there any AI bot or real human asking questions? No? Okay, so then a real human here.
Do you have any suggestions for people who work in companies where their principals, knowledge workers are experimenting with AI? Because we've been so bad, abusive AI turns everything into an insider problem now.
Yeah.
And we've been very bad at detecting insider abuse exceeding authorized access, except when there's exfiltration of data, typically. So, can you
speak to
IT people
Mike,
who have been the Department of No for 50 years, so you can't just say, no, you can't use these AI frameworks.
Yeah.
What would you suggest to make safe experimentation available to people in a company?
Yeah, that was pretty much what I tried to solve for the last year, actually. That and training people. It is hard because if you do not allow them to use something, they will use something anyway. You have the shadow, not like you can use the shadow IT, you can also use shadow AI term, which I wrote a blog about a while back. They will use it anyway. So having a white list of these things you can use, having a way for them to test something that you have, you give them the instructions of how to test for something, you give them instructions of what data you can put in which applications, and then you accept that they will do a lot of stuff anyway. Samsung was the first already in 23 to forbid using ChatGPT because someone leaked their confidential secrets into it. That's going to happen a lot, and that's where the user was. Like you have the entire security network, and then you have Dave, and
third-party prompts. People use other people's prompts without careful inspection. So
yeah. Train people with AI. Train people for them to understand what they're doing. It's hard.
So we have two more
really
questions.
hard, but, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. We have two more questions here, and then we close the queue
Yes.
here. So go.
What about the ethical part of the current LLMs? Is it possible to use the ones at this moment in the market because we know they are trained for stolen data? Should we train our LLMs for ourselves, or should we wait for good LLMs like ChatNL that is now being built?
There are already models. There's, now I forget the name, but there's at least one company that was from Canada who has full transparency in the data they have used. There's a lot of models on Hugging Face. Some of them are poisoned, so use with caution. But there are open source available that you can use. Some of them are transparent in what data they have in them. So purely for environmental reasons, I would say do not start developing your own, because no. But I would say that there are options. There are models, there are companies that offer models that do it better. So supporting them is the best way forward for that.
Okay, and another question.
Hi. So the AI companies are currently working on solving this security problems on a model level. It's kind of part of the alignment problem in general to so that the AI models don't do anything unintentional. And so my question would be, do you know about any testing frameworks where we can evaluate the model security? Maybe some models are more prone to being manipulated than others, and it might be quantifiable. Yes.
There's a lot of research going into that. With the Hack AI, I do log and save prompts and responses for the models, because I'm hoping that once I have time to go through the data, I would have a data set for that to offer of, let's make that you can run the prompt and see how the model actually behaves when you're trying to break it. We need more of that. There are companies doing that. A lot of them are making it into a big business. I think this should be mostly open sourced and information given to everyone. So that's kind of the direction where I hope to be going with the Hack AI, because I need to first gather the data so then I can release it. But there needs to be a lot of that.
Yeah, thank you again, Satu.